Coming up in the morning edition, the Broadcasting Corporation computer system is hacked, the Prime Minister is in Brussels, and the Bahamas National Trust celebrates 60 years. Happy Tuesday and good morning to all of you. I'm LaDawn Davis and this is the Morning Edition. Thank you so much for waking up with us. And joining us live here on the Morning Edition to tell us how things are shaping up weather-wise for the month of January is Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good morning, Basil.
Good morning, LaDawn. Our ZNS Tower Cam showing some patchy clouds and will this hold up for the balance of today? Well, stay tuned. All the details coming up later in the newscast. But outside of our studios, we have partly cloudy skies, temperature at 72 degrees, relative humidity 93%, north-northwest winds at 5 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,018.4 millibars at 30.08 inches, and it is rising. Temperatures around the islands this morning picking up some 72s in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Green Toll, Key, and Marsh Harbor in Abaco. In the Berry Islands, 74, 73 in Allenstown, Bimini, as we take you into Harbor Island, 75, 75 also in Roxanne, Eleuthera, Otterstown, Cat Island at 76, 74 in Staniel Key, Kemp Space 75, 74 in Fresh Creek, Central Andros. San Salvador, 76, Rum Key at 77 degrees, Georgetown, Exuma, 75, in Betsy Bay, Meguana, 76 degrees, Crooked Island, Acklands at 77, Clarencetown, Long Island, 76, 77 in Ragged Island, Matthew Tiny Nago, also another 77, and the Turks and Caicos Islands at 76 degrees. Your boating forecast for today in the northwestern islands, northerly winds 10 to 15 knots, the wave heights 2 to 4 feet. Low tide takes place at 8:27 and the high tide at 2:17 in the afternoon. And for the central and southeastern islands today, light and variable winds with very flat seas at 1 to 3 feet over the ocean. That's going to do it for your first look at one of the morning editions. Stay tuned. Your forecast for today and tonight is still ahead.
Thanks a lot, Basil. See you later on in the newscast. Meanwhile, traffic reporter Sieska Adderley is standing by at the six-legged roundabout to tell us how things are looking on our streets this morning. Hello, Sieska.
Good morning. This morning's traffic report, we're coming to you live from the six-leg roundabout. Even for the most experienced driver, it could get tricky at times. So Corporal Decore Bar is going to explain to us or remind us of how to use it properly. Good morning, Corporal Barr. How are you?
I'm good, Sieska. Good morning to you. Good morning, Bahamas.
Okay, so as I said, we're at the six-leg roundabout. First of all, does that present any issues for you all as traffic officers? And then let's go into how to use the roundabout properly.
Yeah, some of the issues we have, not only at this roundabout, at most roundabouts, are motorists not using them in the proper manner. The six-leg roundabout is a bit more tricky. We have more exits and entrances, which would always be a challenge. On a traditional roundabout, if you're utilizing the left lane and you enter the roundabout maintaining the left or the outside lane, then you have two choices, the first exit or the second exit. If you maintain the inside lane closer to the center of the roundabout, your choices then become the second exit, third exit, or the fourth exit, which is to come back around. However, at the six-leg roundabout, you have another choice. You could either take the first, second, or third exit if you maintain the outer lane. If you utilize the inside lane, then you would have from the third to the sixth exit to use. So these are things that we want to remind persons of. And even if you maintain the proper lane, you still have to pay attention for persons who may also be using the same lane but trying to exit before you. So these are some of the things that we want to encourage or remind motorists to do or pay special attention to while utilizing the roundabout.
Now, what speed should we be traveling at, Corporal Barr, when we're about to approach a roundabout, especially the six-leg roundabout?
As you are entering or approaching any roundabout or junction, you should always break your speed. You should always want to slow down. And also with slowing down, you should want to be clear or know exactly where it is that you want to go or what you want to do before entering the roundabout and have to make a split-second decision, which could be causes some disaster.
So speed is also an issue as it relates to this roundabout as well, right?
Yes, persons sometimes go too fast around the roundabout. A safe speed, well, the speed limit in the city of New Providence is 25 miles per hour. So anything over that, you're breaking the law.
All right. And Corporal Barr, were there any incidents overnight that we, the viewing public, should be aware of?
Yes, we spoke about speed on yesterday, and we still have some persons who's not adhering or obeying the speed limit. We had a few accidents over the 24-hour period, and it's safe to say that speed was a factor in one or two of those matters. We want to encourage persons again to drive within the speed limit of the island of New Providence.
All right, thank you so much. Corporal Decore Barr telling us how to use the 6-leg roundabout. It's still tricky, so you all pay attention to the advisory that Corporal Barr just gave us, and remember to drive safely. Back to you in the studio, LaDawn.
Thanks a lot, Sieska. Meanwhile, the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas' service system has been hacked. Executive Chairman Mike Smith gave us an update early this morning on the issue.
IT Supervisor Jason Sanders discovered that we had been hacked, and in communicating with the hackers, they were demanding a ransom from ZNS to be paid in Bitcoin. They wanted us to purchase approximately $50,000 worth of Bitcoin for them, and then if we did that, they would give us a password to get back into our service because they had encrypted it so that we couldn't access them. Initially, Jason was able to talk them down to approximately $18,000 worth of Bitcoin, but then after we thought about it and discussed it among management and our other advisors, we decided not to pursue that route. We wouldn't pay. But what that means is that we can't access, as you know, our computers, so all our technical operations and our administrative operations are affected significantly as a result of being hacked and not being able to access our servers.
The executive chairman says local police are investigating and they have engaged the services of the FBI. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister is in Brussels today for high-level bilateral talks with officials of the European Commission. This as the government is taking strides to solidify our status as a premier international financial services jurisdiction. Dr. the Most Honorable Hubert Minnis discussions will focus on matters relating to the country's fulfillments to the European Union and how those commitments will be implemented by the financial services sector. The Prime Minister is expected to promote recent financial services initiatives, including those recently passed in Parliament, new framework aimed at strengthening industry regulations and protecting the financial services competitive edge as a leading international financial services center. Meanwhile, staff at the Ministry of Social Services and Urban Development gathered at St. Barnabas Anglican Church Monday for its annual church service under the theme, Transforming the Journey 2019 and Beyond. In his keynote address, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Peter Turnquest told attendees noted how there's tremendous suffering through the country, and that's why the support of these agencies bring to the community.
Are we serving our customers in the best way possible? Are we doing our jobs in the most efficient and cost-effective way and delivering a quality service to our stakeholders? And I want to encourage you, even as your business may not be economics or finances, to think about it the same way. Be creative. Be innovative. Challenge the status quo. We are trying to transform this Bahamas. We're trying to move ourselves into a new direction, to a more sustainable position for our citizens. Being lean, mean, and efficient is the only way we're going to be able to survive.
Minister of Social Services and Urban Development, the Honorable Frankie Campbell, also admonished his staff to remain the voice, the feet, and the hands of those in need.
If each person decides that a transformation will take place with him or herself, then everyone else within or outside of that circle will reap the benefits.
Social service, I must say that you have done your work, but there's more work to do. There's much more work for us to carry on from day to day. Our prayers are always with you. and our prayers will always be with you. And so today I say, carry on, work hard, work smart, and stay in God's business forever.
Sometime last year, former social activist Omar Archer was criticized all over social media because a person said that he did not qualify for a position or the registrar at the Public Works Department. Omar Archer actually gave us an interview earlier this week and responded to critics on the issue.
All those who know my father, the late Audley Archer, he established a construction company, Archer's Construction. It's a reputable company. And from a little boy, I've been in construction all my life. For the better part of 30 plus years. So as it relates to that in itself, it was just nonsense. So I paid it no mind. You know, obstacles are those frightening things you see when you take your eyes off the prize. And I'm focused on what it is that we have to accomplish. And what it is we're going to accomplish is to regularize this industry.
Meanwhile, enrollment at the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute is up this academic year, according to president of that institution, Dr. Robert Robertson. Dr. Robertson told ZNS News recently that the institution is now looking to offer more services to students in the Family Islands.
This year are up about 33%, largely because of the tuition assistance program provided by the government. That's very positive, but now we have to work on the quality of those graduates, make sure they come out with the skills that are needed, as I just mentioned. We're looking to provide more assistance to some of the Family Islands, because basically our main campuses are in Freeport and Nassau. We have some campus locations in Andros and Abaco, but we need to reflect the fact that the B stands for the Bahamas, not Nassau or Freeport. And so it's important we try to get out to the Family Islands more, and that's one of our objectives in the next year or two.
Some good news there for Family Island students. Stay close. There's more news right after this. You're watching The Morning Edition. Back to The Morning Edition. January is the longest month when it comes to payday, and therapist Harrison Thompson spoke to our Charles Fisher about how we can get out of the blues.
Already faced with a need to save and not having seen a paycheck for over a month, what can one do?
It's hard because you got to learn how to manage your money. A lot of people get paid in lump sums. And when you get paid in a lump sum like that, it can be very tempting because now you got this money in hand. But you got to start thinking about the long term. You got to start thinking about, you know, what is it that I can pay down responsibly to kind of alleviate this pressure for us the next time we come to this particular place. We have to be very careful not to get too money excited, right? A lot of people don't know how to deal with large sums of money, and so whatever they feel, they spend on. If someone says, I want to go to dinner right now because it's Friday, they'll go because they know they got the money. But we have to start thinking a bit more long term. We have to stop associating going out with the weekends just because it's the weekend, and we have to become more budget conscious if we are to make it through this tough time.
Thompson says it's not good to diagnose a person or coworker. Mood swings is a common thing.
I don't think Bahamians have done a good job being able to identify what's ailing them and why. Instead, we make light of these things. We make light of that headache that's been reoccurring. We make light of the fact that we don't feel good when we go to work. We become so focused on just getting to Friday. Monday through Thursday looks like a blur. Those are very indicating signs that something is not right internally. But because we never stop to look at ourselves, we end up blaming everybody else but us.
And there is a thing called living above our means.
We try to maintain this certain image, this certain lifestyle that people have become accustomed to seeing us live. And you know, as Bahamians, we sometimes get too prideful. And we hold on to these things sometimes at our own detriment. And in order for us to begin adjusting to what the financial climate is, we're going to have to learn how to cut away some of these unnecessary things. But as men, we become very money-oriented. We don't want to do anything unless it's making money. And so even the relationship dynamics can change. When you see January rolls around, he can have been the happy camper in December, but in January, he's a stern, tight-pocketed person.
Some good advice for some of us to live by. For the ZNS News Network, I'm Charles Fisher.
Some good advice indeed, Charles. Bahamas National Trust is celebrating its 60th anniversary, touted as the only national trust in the region to have the impressive number of 32 national parks. Minister of Environment and Housing, the Honorable Ramon Ferreira.
We do believe in my travels that one of the things that we sometimes don't appreciate is just how unique it is to have an archipelago of islands in the Atlantic Ocean. When you look at the Pacific Ocean, there are a number of archipelagos. I mean, too numerous to mention. But when you look at the Bahamas, when you look at the fact that we are a country of 700 islands, we're in fact more than that. It's actually very, very unique in the Atlantic Ocean. And as such, celebrating our protected spaces, celebrating our ocean assets, our land assets, is actually a fundamental part of who we are. And when we look at our recent history, I'm talking from the Eleutherian adventurers onwards, we can see that our past is linked to the ocean.
Meanwhile, the Trust will celebrate the 60th anniversary throughout the year with a myriad of activities such as a pig roast, National Park Day, and a gala event. Minister Ferraro went on to assure the Trust of undying support and that the Bahamas and natural environment should truly be celebrated.
Nothing has the potential to confirm our humanity and remind us of who we are, regardless of the color of our skin or where we live, that we have one goal, which is for a better country. So I offer my congratulations to the Bahamas National Trust. I'm here to advise of my unwavering support, certainly for the rest of this term, and as long as I have life in my body, to do whatever needs to be done to advance your goals.
Now, Fisher, that was a good story you did there on pay stress. It's been rough around here for the past few days.
I haven't seen a paycheck since December, can't even remember.
I think December 20th, I think.
And nobody's lending nowadays without getting back double.
So what's coming up in sports?
Coming up in sports, basketball, and more basketball. This is the season for basketball with most tournaments around the corner. A good story in the Bahamas National Trust. I was wondering, have you ever been camping? Have you ever been out in the wild? I know you're from Harbour.
Just in the Girl Guides when I was a part of the Girl Guides, but that was like many years ago.
That's like 40 years ago.
That and more ahead in sports.
Good Tuesday morning to all. The New Providence Basketball Association, they had action last night over at the AF Arley Gym. It was the Breezers High Flyers, the reigning Division II champions, taking care of the Carroll Contractor Titans, 94-81. The score was 46-32 at the half. Devontae Gibson at 25 points. Dave Davis 19 and Brendan Stouts at 18. Dario Sanders chipped in with 13. Breezers now 7-2 on the season. Head coach Donnie Culmer.
We played all right. You know, we had certain lapses coming on and a couple of quarters, but the championship spirit and games starting to come back as we get closer to the playoffs to make this three-peat run. We getting focused now. I starting to feel what I felt last year. You know, everybody is getting more serious now, coming out to practice, starting to work hard, and you know, we just go into the playoffs and let the chips fall where they may and hope we be victorious.
The loss of Avante Lang at 26, Delmar Hamilton 15, the Juan Murray 10 points, 11 boards. The Titans, they are 0-9 and still looking for their first win on the season.
We come in and night out, you know, to ball with these guys, you know. We go hard at every team we play, and we just attack and try to stay aggressive on defense and offense, both. You know, don't always show up in the win-loss total, but we go hard at every team. They can never say a team come in and they had an easy game playing us. We're a great, talented group of guys, and we just got to keep battling until we find out what it is we need to fix.
The New Providence Women's Basketball Association also off and running. Watch out for the young Foxes Angels. They beat the Saints 84-61. This team coached by former player Diasi Delancey. Anthony Swaby, he is one of the consultants on this young team. Watch out for them.
But because their youth took the team for granted. But why is everyone else was out partying and what those young girls were working? So I'm warning the rest of them now. This team is only going to get better. I'm working on seeing if I get one more, the young lady from St. John's to see the benefits of being a part of this team. And if we get her in, this whole league is in trouble.
And that's going to be it for Sports Tuesday. I'm Charles Fisher. Thanks for watching.
In our final look at weather, that dry cold front now slipping into the central Bahamas, and it will keep temperatures nice and cool for the next several days. There's another front on the way. We'll tell you more about that later on. But right now, we're looking at partly sunny conditions today. High temperature getting up to 77 degrees tonight. Not bad at all. Partly cloudy and mild. A low temperature getting down to about 68 degrees. And your extended weather forecast, temperatures in the 70s daytime, that is, right into the weekend. Wouldn't be until Monday that we'll get temperatures back into the 80s. That's when that other frontal system will move in here and will bring some strong winds heading into Tuesday and some cooler temperatures early next week as well. LaDawn?
Thanks a lot, Basil, and that does it for the morning edition. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Be sure to tune in at 6 p.m. for our 2-hour newscast. Once again, I'm LaDawn Davis. Have a great day.